Hey guys, I'm Jessie, and today we are going to be talking all about my TBR for the month of November. As always, this is more of a pile of possibility. I have a handful of books that I definitely want to get to, and I plan to read, prioritize, but then the rest of them are maybe these sound fun. So that's just how my reading life is. That is how my TBR goes. These are not a guarantee, I'm gonna get to this. This is I'm gonna try. Because I'm a mood reader. And most of the time I'll be reading something and then I'll be like, you know what? I want to read this now. And then I'll just pick that up. So that's why I don't commit to a ton of buddy reads and stuff like that. Because, I can't gauge my emotions that far in advance. But this is everything that I am going to try to get to in the month of November. So I have 3 books that are my definites, that are I'm definitely getting to these. I'm excited to read them, and all 3 of them have commitments behind them. So these are my 3 commitments, first reads, definitely getting to them books. The first one is Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. This is the second book in the Band series. It's the sequel to Kings of the Wild. And I am buddy reading this with Kate from the Literary Apothecary, Andrew over at Wizardly Reads, and we may have something super exciting planned for a live show after we finish this, so definitely look out for that. I've been wanting to read this for a while now. I loved Kings of the Wild. I ended up doing a reread recently with Kate, and we did a live show, and it was so much fun. And I just love it. It's such a cool series. The first book follows this group of older men as they're on this get the band back together type quest to save one of the daughters. It's a lot of comedy. It's very Dungeons and Dragons meets This Is Spinal Tap, very classic rock inspired. There's so many classic rock references, and I love that as one of my favorite genres of music. This is actually following a whole different cast of characters. I believe we're actually following the daughter that they saved from the first book, which is Rose, Bloody Rose, and her band. And I believe this one is all 80s music inspired. Thank you, Nicholas, for writing books inspired by amazing music. I cannot wait to get to this. Next up on my books I've committed to list is I'm going to be reading The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. This is the first book in the Dreamblood duology. I am doing a buddy read of this series with Vish and Angela from Literary Science Alliance. I don't know why I can't say her name on the first try, ever. But I'm really, really excited. We're going to be reading this. I love N.K. Jemisin. This is actually going to be a first read for me. I've never read this one. I've read The City We Became, and I've read some of her short stories, and then I've read the 5th season, obviously, the whole Broken Earth series. I can't wait to get to this, y'all. I'm so excited. N.K. Jemisin's writing is fantastic. All I really know is there's dream magic. It's very Egyptian-inspired desert fantasy, so I cannot wait to get to this one. And the final commitment book that I am committing to read this month is probably one that's going to take me the whole month to read. Let's be honest. And that is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd book in the Stormlight Archives, and I am reading this for the very first time as one of the co-hosts of the Cosmere Crab-Along. I'll leave all that information in the description because there's a bunch of us. We have live shows. It's a good time. I'm excited. I loved the first 2. I cannot wait to get for this. But man, it's so, this could be a weapon. It's so big. This is going to take me a minute. It's accessible. I find Brandon Sanderson's writing style very easy to read and very accessible, even for 1,200 page book. So we'll see how long it takes me. But I'm not the fastest of readers. I used to think I was a fast reader until I met other people that were fast readers, and I'm oh, I'm slow. So I'm excited though, because this is one I've been dying to get to. And I could love to read them. I love talking with them about all the things from our Cosmere Crab-Along group. It's so much fun. So if you want to read this with us, join down below. So that is kind of my whole, my 3 commitment books, right? Those are the 3 that it's I'm reading these. They're my 3 books. These are what I'm getting to this month. No ifs, ands, or buts. The rest of these are ones that are like I'm trying really hard to get to, I want to get to, they're my choice books. I only have one of them physically, and that is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This is actually the Shelf Space Book Club pick for the month. Abby is the host for this month, and then she is co-hosting along with the brothers Gwen, and this was their pick, and I've had it on my shelf for a little while now. Been wanting to get to it, so I'm gonna try to get to it. And again though, this is a chunker. She chunky. And I've never actually read anything by Neil Gaiman, so this would be my first Neil Gaiman book. I've never seen the show. Yeah, just let me know. I'm excited to read this if I can manage to get to it. The rest of the books are all NetGalley arcs. I'm gonna try, keyword, to clear out some of my NetGalley shelf because it's getting up there. There's a few books I need to read. There's some I'm late on, like there's a lot. So we're gonna try to get to some of my NetGalley books. I'm not gonna talk about them too much, just kind of like the ones that are on there that I really wanna get to. First up is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I have this one on NetGalley. I'm so excited to get to it. I loved House in the Cerulean Sea, and I really wanted to read something else by him. That was my first book I've ever read by TJ Klune. I know this one is like supposedly like similar in feel. It's like cozy and like it deals with a lot of grief and it's, you know, a male-male romance, and I'm excited because it sounds so good, and everyone I know that has read it has enjoyed it. So hopefully I will also fall in that camp. I also have the arc for All of Us Villains. This was on one of my anticipated releases videos a while back, and y'all, I'm so excited to get to it. It's like a competition with villains, and it's like everyone's morally gray, I'm pretty sure. And it's like they have this contest every so many years, and it's like real secretive, and then it like the news gets out and it becomes like this spectacle. So I'm really excited to read this. It sounds like it's gonna be right up my alley, so hopefully I will be getting to this one very soon as well. The other three on this like NetGalley November pile of possibility are all sequels, and I'm very excited about all of them. The first one is The Bone Shard Emperor. This is the sequel to The Bone Shard Daughter, and I read that last year. Absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic book, and I'm really excited to get to the sequel. Like, I really just want to know what happens after the end of book one. Like, it wasn't like a cliffhanger, but it left me with so many questions, and I want to get to it. So this one's like high on the pile of possibilities. Then we also have The Liar's Knot, which is the sequel to Mask of Mirrors. I, again, read Mask of Mirrors earlier this year, actually. Loved it. And now the sequel has already come out. So both books have come out in the same year. So that is crazy to me. I think that's just the way like 2020 has messed up publishing, and then 2021 is trying to like push everything out that didn't get published. Like, it's a mess. So, Liar's Knot, sequel to Mask of Mirrors. I have a whole review for Mask of Mirrors. I'm not going to talk about it too much because you can just go watch that full review if you want to know all of my thoughts, but I loved it. It was a 5-star book. Very political, intrigue, mysterious fantasy, and I loved it. And the final one is Bound by Firelight. This is the sequel to Cast in Firelight. Again, this was an arc that I read earlier in this year. Book 2 is already coming out. It's a like YA fantasy that's like Indiana inspired, and it was, again, really, really good. I have a full review. You can check out the full review if you want to hear me talk all about it, the pros, the cons, what I loved, what could have been a little better, but like all in all, I really loved the first book, and I'm very excited, again, to see what happens after the end of it. Because again, it didn't end in a cliffhanger, which I like, but there were some open questions, and I like when books end like that, where it's like, it's not like a cliffhanger, but you still want more. Like, you know there's more, and like you just want to know. So that's how this book ended, and I'm very excited to get to the second one. All right, this was, for me, a pretty short and sweet little TBR pile of possibility for the month of November. Let me know your thoughts on any of these books. If you want to buddy read some of them with me, let me know, as I know a couple people had been interested in like some of the different arcs that I have, and they had the same arcs, so that would be a lot of fun. If you want to read any of the first 3 books that are like our buddy reads for the month, like, let me know because we're buddy reading those already. So join in and read them with us. All right, well, my name is Jessie and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.